The presentation from Justin Connor is called Automate the Non-Programmer Way. Justin Connor is currently the GIS coordinator for the city of Wisconsin Rapids. Prior to the city, he worked as the Wood County LIO Land Records Coordinator for about 13 years. Justin is a past president of WLIA, having served as president in 2014. He is also the only person to arrive at the WLIA Board of Directors meeting on a snowmobile. Take it away, Justin. I think you're still muted.
There, how about now? Good to go?
I can hear you.
All right, cool. And sweet. So, excuse me. So, like she said, I started with the city of Wisconsin Rapids before the pandemic started about a year and a half ago. And, I started looking at some of their workflows that have been going on and looking for some of that kind of low hanging fruit to get those early wins, just to kind of get settled in. So one of the first things that I noticed when they send out their road closures, kind of seemed to, it was old fashioned, I guess you could say. We had an email list that was maintained by, basically one of the engineers. I think they just kind of recycled each email when they sent it out. Who's getting them and that sort of thing. How do you get on the list? That sort of thing was kind of problematic. There was a Word document that they basically kept recycling and copy and pasting a map from the IMS, or not the IMS, but the GIS website, converting that all to PDF and sending it out. It just seemed really kind of cumbersome, quite frankly, and knew that there was a much better solution to that. So I offered up a mixture of Survey 123 using feature reports and using Integromat to basically program the solution and send it out. All right. Are you seeing what I think you're seeing, or?
You can see ArcGIS online, it looks like.
Excellent, cool. So using, I'm assuming that most people here know, how to create the Survey 123 forms and stuff. So I'm not going to go into that too much. But how do you get rid of this thing? Oh, here we go. Excellent. So anyhow, I had a bar that was covering up my ribbon here in Chrome. So first step was to go in. You can either go to Survey 123 online, or what I use is Connect. But the survey didn't need to be all that complicated, really. Just a simple map that you can draw your polygons on, street name, description of the closure, reason, time, and all that basic information. So when you publish that form out, you come back in ArcGIS Inline here, and you've got all your layers that have been created, and really, quite that simple. So with the form created, your next step that you want to do is actually go in and add some data in, which will become important once we get into Integromat, because you're going to have something in there to be able to configure, I guess. So I've done this already, but I'm just going to do a quick little closure here. Let's see, I've got some copy and paste some stuff in here, so I'm not typing. Accept the default there and change that over to PM, and contact me, it's test, and hit submit. So we're sending that information in there. So come back in here. All right, so information is in here. Again, all pretty familiar to everybody, I'm assuming. So, so now with some information in here, I'm going to go in and again, I've kind of set this up so you don't have to watch me do it, but to create a your feature report. So you go in and add a new template. So you can, well, you can download their sample, or what it basically is really is just a Word document. So we create this Word document. These $signs, these are your field names. So it's really quite easy. And probably the trickiest part was adding the map in here. Again, not that it was you know, tricky to add the code or anything in there, but just getting the sizing and everything, you know, all set up and working correctly, you know. So it was, you know, it was just a little tricky playing with it, and all trial and error sort of thing. So and you can get far more advanced using HTML and different things, but again, for our needs, it really pretty much, excuse me, was all that was needed. So when you get your template, you would add that into ArcGIS Online, or the, I'm sorry, ArcGIS Survey 123, and add that in up here with your template, or excuse me, templates. You can, instead of using generate, hit your preview and sample your reports. It's going to take some time, download it, whatever. And well, all right, away you go. So with your data in there, your template, we'll get to see what it looks like later. Really, we can go into Integromat and get into kind of the nuts and bolts of it. So, and if anyone had any questions about that Survey 123 part, just, you know, let me know. Or but yeah, so there's what our template looked like. So in Integromat, I guess first I should mention that we have a subscription. The subscription is it's really fairly inexpensive. It's about $10 a month. And we haven't really even come close to hitting any of these operations or data transfer limits or anything like that quite yet. So for $10, again, I think it's quite reasonable. You can get the, you start off with the free subscription, and you know, there's some limitations to it, but to get started, it's you know, the entry point is really quite easy. And so this is the dashboard when you start up, so you can see what's going on. And over on the left-hand side, you've got different the scenarios that we have. We have also created one for meeting notifications, road closures, and then here's some other ones towards the bottom that I was playing around with. You can do email parsing, you know, just really quite anything. They have some templates that kind of get you started. So if you wanted to do that, you basically just click on them and you know, kind of work through things that way. So again, easy, you know, just kind of play around with it. And yeah, so yeah, I'm going to get back into the scenario. So you would create a new scenario, but I guess with a live demo, I'm not quite that brave this morning to do that on the fly. So I've got one somewhat pre-created. So notice up here it says there's one record in the queue waiting. So that's the survey that we just put in there before. So what we would do is you would add your survey, right? So down here on the bottom, there's your add tool or add button. You can just type in whatever you want. And then as you add tools, they come down here under your favorites. And you know, basically just kind of an easy, a quick way to add what you need. So adding the survey 123, we're going to add the webhook. And what that does is basically it's communicating back to survey 123 every time that you know, something happens in that survey. It's creating that that hook, for lack of a better term, and goes ahead and tells Integromat to do an action. So this first tool here is just listening to the survey. All the configurations here, it's, you know, really you don't even have to type a whole lot if you didn't want to. We'd create or add our ArcGIS Online account. Again, obviously, you just need your username and password for that. Your list of surveys. So you just select your survey, add what you want to have for your trigger. Are you adding data, or do you need to trigger every time an edit is made? Just basically keep the defaults on that stuff. But again, you can change what you need. So if you didn't want to look through all this stuff, you know, you can remove it if you wanted to. So leave that the way it is. In between, well, I'll wait for that. But so the next idea or next tool here is create report. All right, so again, we're going to go through. There's our survey. This is the template that we have. And this is the, well, there's only the one layer in here. So when you get to some of these here, when you click on it, it gives you all that information that's over here. So let me back up. When we're adding this, all these little buttons here are contributing to what we're able to see in this next create report. So we've got the object ID, and that's you know, basically we're just adding it from to our attributes, right? So this is all the attribute information that we just added in that form. I want the PDF, and we're given the report a name, right? So otherwise it would just be some long, you know, long object ID type of thing. And the, excuse me, and the time offset. So again, we want to have it in, it's all in UTC time. So we want to have this all in Central Standard Time. So, and then the first, this kind of tripped me up at first, is sometimes it'll air out. And if it airs out and you don't have a built-in kind of fail-safe, I guess, it will just, the survey will just, or not the survey, but the Integromat will just keep running. And so you have to have these little fail-safes in here just to allow it to exit out. So, so these are what they call flow controls. So you have a bunch of different ones in here. We've got a router over here later. Aggregators. So if you have like relationship tables and stuff, and you want to aggregate all of those into one email or table or whatever, you'd have use that array aggregator. So we just have that set to ignore. The other route here is the HTTP. So this is where we're going to, once that feature report is made, we're doing an HTTP call, tough to say here, to go get that URL of the report so that we can download it. And again, that's just configured by the box there on the side. So again, this router here, this is by clicking on that, you can add another path. So we're going to send an email. So what I have set up in, we have a Google organization. So I've got basically a form that's out on our website where you can set up your email or put your email in to get on our email list. And that's all managed through a Google group. And logging into that's kind of a pain, so I'm not going to go through and show that to you. But again, we found that the Google group was pretty easy to manage, but there's a variety of different methods that you can use to manage your email list. So for the Gmail account, so this is our account that we created here, Rapid Notice, and we're entering the email where it's coming from. And so we could put in an email address right in that to body right here, but I wanted to hide the email list or the email name, so we're actually putting it down here in a blind copy recipient. That way, people from the list can't reply, I guess, back to it. Or at least know what the email is and who else is on the list and whatnot. So, so this is the subject of the email. Again, clicking on it brings you to your to all your information here, so you can get the title and various things there, the description that we entered in, name, contact, email. This is all an HTML box, so if you can get as fancy with it as you want. I have we have a dashboard that's set up in our well, not for this demo one here, but on the real one we've got a dashboard set up, and so this little line here basically creates a link to that dashboard, and with a query. So the closure equals and an object ID, so that way when you click on it, it takes you right to that closure on the dashboard. One of the stumbling blocks early on was figuring out exactly how to get that attachment basically on to load into the email. And again, you're using that the Git file, but where to put these. So there's some information in the ArcGIS Online help about where to put that. Ishmael has a great blog, but it does take a little bit of effort to find it. But yeah, just trying to figure out exactly how to get these the data and the file name and all that stuff to work to get your attachments was a little tricky. But if you stumble on that, let me know. I can offer up any information or any help. But yeah, so I was trying to put it in a content ID, and that's just not where we're supposed to put it. So so yeah, so make a mental note of the attachment part. On the other branch here, I also wanted to send it out to our Facebook page, and to do that, I had to convert that PDF file to an image. So I used a tool called CloudConvert. It was all free, but I had to go make an account for that, get the API key, and enter that in here. So you just add that in and add your connection to that. Upload file, again, you're using this HTTP call to add that in there. Basically set your configurations. create the name of the file, and you're downloading it. So then from there, adding it to Facebook. I'd recommend you use, see, I created a little Kellner GIS page just so I can, play around, because obviously you're testing this thing. I can't recount how many times I had to send test surveys. Obviously, you don't want to be spamming your city's Facebook page with a bunch of test closures. So I created just my own Kellner GIS Facebook page. Yeah, get your file, and again, down here, sending this to Facebook. This is all HTML stuff. I can get a lot more fancy than this, but that's what we've got. So, so I sent the closure. Oh, one thing I should mention is scheduling, right? So I can run this. You can just hit run once. You can right click on any of these tools and run just that module. But once you get everything set, I've got you have these set to run immediately. So this is one of those things with the trial that you're limited to how often these scenarios can run, and immediately is not available. So I think you're limited to like every 15 minutes, which usually isn't a terrible thing. But when it's set to immediately, what's going to happen is once you set that, once you send a survey, it's going to run, like it says, run immediately. So, so I'm going to set that to on. It should be running, and let's resend our survey. So just going to make a quick, let's see where we are. All right, about 5 minutes left. Let's just kind of copy and paste some of this stuff here. And hit submit, and I should get an email shortly here. If everything. Are there any quick questions while I know I'm kind of going really quick here.
Nothing really in the chat right now, but people are liking what you're showing.
Come on. All right. So should be ready to go.
Oh. Hey, Justin, does Integromat have a really good help file online for if you have any questions? They have a lot of documentation online to assist you with this kind of stuff.
Oh, there we go. So I got my email. So so the help is actually a little I mean, it's kind of like help yourself, so to speak. They have a Facebook group, but I found the best help actually has been through on the Esri website, and Ishmael is actually pretty responsive, believe it or not. So he's always kind of in there. So actually I found, using Esri help is probably the easiest part. So again, here's our closure, and it pops up on the wrong side. So there are nice new air photos in there. So I guess I can show some other things that we were working on too, what you can do. So this one I was just kind of playing around with, trying to, let's see, it's been a while since I looked into this. Basically, you can pull, so we've got an old email parser that's running on a server that we want to get rid of. So it parses out the Diggers Hotline requests. And so I want to get that moved over, or basically off of that server. And so I was playing around with how to basically get this over into Integromat. One of the problems I ran into, though, is that well, we'd have to spend a little bit more money to get the stuff or get the emails to plug into our SQL database. So like anything else, right, there's levels of levels of cost and what you can do and that sort of thing. And one of the, let's see, I can, well, one of the problems that I ran into was, again, you couldn't use SQL databases as one of your data stores unless you, got the next level higher. So anyhow, I was sending these emails, these diggers emails to Google Sheets for now, just kind of as a proof of concept. But so there's a text parser here playing with different patterns. This is, I guess, where I left it off at the last time. And again, these are all kind of the same configuration. So this is all what comes over in the email. The array, like I was mentioning before, you have, so these are all of the different, well, what comes over in the email and your parser. So if you're getting multiple emails and multiple things, this is going to combine those together and then put it out into the Google Sheets. So there's really just tons and tons and tons of different things that you can plug into. Darn near every day, there's a little notification on this what's new of another module that they've added. So it's definitely been it's been interesting, been fun to play with. And again, there's really no code if you wanted to go that route. So I think I'm getting close to my time. I'm hoping that at least like convince some people to give it a shot. And yeah.
All right. Thanks, Justin. There's a few questions in the comments. So once you stop sharing your screen, you might be able to see those, but we may not have time for those. Just got 1 minute left, but thank you so much for that presentation.